Hello! The question I'm going to be addressing today is that of tax payments for the Canada Pension Plan. As of 2022, the tax for this is split between employers and workers, each paying 5.7% of their earnings. I'm going to be addressing the following in this presentation. Firstly, how would things change if the law changes so that employers no longer pay their half and instead workers pay 100% of the tax? Secondly, I will address the different factors that affect how the tax burden is split between employers and workers. Lastly, I will cover the question regarding how the number of workers with jobs would change if the CPP and CPP tax were eliminated. Finally, remember that it is very important to keep in mind that in this situation with employers and workers, employers are considered the buyers of labor and workers are considered the sellers of labor. Alright, so let's assume the circumstances where the law I described changes so that workers must pay all the taxes for the CPP. In other words, the incidence of the tax is placed 100% on the sellers. We know that when taxes are imposed on sellers, it causes them to reduce their supply of this service, shifting the supply curve left and up. In this situation, the workers will be receiving much less money for providing their services, which would very likely lead to a decrease in the amount of workers willing to enter the workforce. Moving along, the largest factor influencing the burden of the CPP is the elasticity of buyers and sellers. In a market where supply is more elastic than demand, the price buyers pay goes up more than the price sellers receive falls. Thus, most of the tax burden falls on the buyers. However, in a market where demand is more elastic than supply, sellers bear most of the tax burden, since the price they receive falls more than the price buyers pay rises. We can use this information to determine how much of the CPP tax burden is incurred by workers and employers. In the case where workers pay 100% of the taxes for the CPP, it can be assumed that the supply is perfectly inelastic. Finally, if this tax were eliminated, would the number of workers with jobs change? The answer to this is unequivocally yes. Taxes are not good for markets, as they discourage activity and lower the quantity of what is being bought and sold. They cause buyers to reduce demand and sellers to reduce supply, resulting in a market with much lower levels of activity than it would have had otherwise. They create a wedge between the price buyers pay and the price sellers receive. However, both are still reduced. It can be anything from marshmallows to rocket ships to, in this scenario, labor. No matter the market, imposing a tax will lower activity. Taking this all into account, if we look at the impact on the job market in eliminating this tax, the number of workers with jobs will absolutely rise, shifting right and changing for the better.